ever had one of those evenings where you go out with some friends, maybe to a dinner party, and there's conversation and it's a good time? But when you leave the party, you realize that nobody really asked you any questions about you, your family, your life. There's no real curiosity shared. We increasingly see this happening in conversations where people have always loved to talk and share about themselves. But when it becomes a one-way street instead of a two-way street, where you actively are curious and asking and invested in learning about other people and other topics, that's when we start to see a problem. That's the demise of curiosity. Welcome to part 3 in this 4-part series on curiosity. Curiosity is a human intelligence skill that you can and should hone right now in order to become unmachined, a differentiated leader with skills that no algorithm can replicate. In our mini but mighty leadership lessons, we publish an episode every week to help you level up personally and professionally. Curiosity, it's one of those things that we know to be true in children. Little kids ask questions all the time. They don't care that questions might make them seem uncertain or unknowledgeable. They just want to know why. How does that work? What else could happen? That's how they learn. That's how they explore. And it's how they show interest. Research on curiosity in personal relationships consistently finds that curious people ask questions and they take an interest in learning about you, the people that you're engaged with, and the things that you do in your life. They intentionally try to keep interactions interesting, engaging, and sometimes even playful. Curious people are characterized as highly enthusiastic, talkative, interesting, confident, and less likely to express insecurities. People who have hobbies or things that they are passionate about are often very curious as well. They want to learn more about it. They want to know all the ins and outs. They want to explore the different tools or products that come out. They want to hang around with people who do those same hobbies or share those interests. The more curiosity and energy that we invest in exploring and understanding something, the more compelling it tends to become. And that is true of people or books, sports, skills, conversations. Curiosity helps you learn more and helps you be more engaged and connected. At work, a manager who shows genuine curiosity about people's ideas, things that are blocking you, or what's going on in your actual life, those managers are building trust. They create environments that not only get more information, but often remove blockers or things that will stall and slow you down and lead to faster results. This is true not just in the team setting, but in one-on-one dynamics. Managers who are curious about an individual, not just what they do in their role, but how they're doing at work, what their bigger goals are, what else is going on in their life that may impact those individuals. Those managers create and foster better relationships and better teams. Our most effective managers are usually the ones who are genuinely curious and interested about the people that work for them and work with them. And your teams feel this. They immediately get the difference between a manager who is really interested and invested and one who is play acting or not even trying to pretend like they're interested in you. The thing is, we are at this really amazing time in life, work, and technology where AI is creating a cultural tension. There is a growing conversation about the fact that these always available AI answers, the ease of getting information, answers, and solutions, has an impact on our human curiosity. If AI can practically deliver an answer to you before you even ask the question, and those of you who are spending time prompting AI, you know it does this. It tries to predict in advance something that maybe you didn't ask about in order to help you have a more fleshed out solution. That is an amazing feature. It really helps push our boundaries and get us past where we might have limited our own thinking and outcomes. But it also means that there's a potential for a lack of wonder. What Zena Hamdan calls the sanctity of wonder is essential to us actually being curious, interested, invested individuals. So the same technology that is reshaping our workplace that we can harness to really get ahead is also training us potentially to skip our questions, to take the prompt at face value, or to limit our ability to sit with what we don't know, to sit with uncertainty, to explore what the outcomes could be, to challenge assumptions. If we don't explore wonder, if we don't allow curiosity, in fact, if we don't cultivate curiosity, what we may find is that individually and collectively, Our ability to question, to challenge, and to wonder atrophies to the point where it becomes hard or even impossible for us to think on our own. An unmachined leader is a person who is not going to let that happen, not for themselves and not for their team. You're going to continue to explore and think on your own, ask questions, challenge assumptions, and wonder. Wonder about other outcomes, options, and considerations before making conclusions and decisions. So, how might you continue to hone and explore and cultivate curiosity while you're also welcoming the advantages of AI? Let's go through a couple of options. The first is think first. Before you ask AI to map out your new process, write your proposal, or innovate your product, think about, what do you already know about it? What don't you know about it? And how might you initially like this to be approached? Take a few minutes to map out and process your own thinking and information on the topic. Maybe create that draft, ideate, put some effort into actually working on it before you engage AI. Another option is about listening. When you hear somebody's idea, their opinion, their plan, really listen. Listen to what they're saying, concentrate and be present, and ask questions. Do you understand what they're proposing? Is there any area in what they've said that seems like it's maybe immature or needs to be refined? Do you have expertise or experience that you could lend to help flesh out that idea? And are they open and welcome to you sharing that? Now, this leads to the notion of gently challenging assumptions, your assumptions and other people's assumptions. When AI spits out an answer, does it seem true? When a friend tells you how something works, do you accept that at face value? Are there ideas or beliefs that aren't true anymore? Or beliefs that just don't work for you and your life and your work anymore? Is there something missing? Is there context or perspective missing? Those are things that you can continue to ask and think through instead of taking things at face value when they're presented, or doing something in a certain way because that's the way you believe it has to be done, or that's the way it has always been done. Put time on your calendar to think. I mean it. Everybody's so busy these days, or we get distracted so easily. But if you block out time on your calendar to sit down and think, just put away your devices and contemplate a topic, an idea, a plan, a project. Think through, what is it about it? Do you have questions? Are you making assumptions? Can you critically assess that topic and get really curious about it? What do you need to know? What else would you like to learn or explore? Spend time thinking through those before you go out and do additional research or spend more time on that particular topic. Another idea for you to consider is figuring out how you might do something before you actually look at the instructions. Let's take a simplistic example. Let's say you want to make brownies. Now, you could go get a recipe. You could buy a pre-made batch box and follow the instructions on the back. You could phone a friend and ask, how do you make brownies? You could go to AI. But what if before you do any of that, you think through, how do you make brownies? What are the ingredients that go into brownies? How much time does it take? Do I have to plan this so that the oven's available, maybe making them before or after dinner, or at a certain time of the day because you don't want to heat the house up? Maybe you know that it's going to take a certain amount of time and you don't have that time right now because you got to go run out and pick up the kids from school. What other considerations might you want to think through before you just go grab and follow somebody else's set of instructions? And last but not least, practice asking good questions. If you're not sure what a good question is, I want you to join us here next week where we're going to explore this in detail. This week, I invite you to pick any one of these. Pick one of these options and try it out. See how it feels. See if it changes things. See if it leads you to more curiosity about something else. And if you're watching this as an HR or an executive in an organization and you're wondering how to bring this at scale to managers in your company, I invite you to reach out and connect with me, AK Helm, at bossatthehelm.com. And don't forget to join us here next Friday, where we're going to go way further than the ideas that we shared this week and really dive deep into how you can cultivate curiosity. Start with yourself, and then lead others. Be a boss. By the way, now is a great time to tap like and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you here next week.